Live.
Thank you, Jody, and welcome, community. This is General Council for tonight is December 9th. We're starting 4 minutes after 6, and we need a chair for this evening's meeting.
Second.
Carrie is moving for me to chair the meeting, and Melba is going to second that. All in favor? Any opposed? First, we'll do an attendance roll call, and we'll start over there with Carrie.
Carrie Bomberry. Dale Bomberry. Dean Hill. I always feel like I'm in number 4 school when we do this. Greg Fraser.
Hazel Johnson. Melba Thomas.
Your chair for tonight, Elena Venevri.
Cynthia Jameson.
And online, we'll start with Helen. I can see you, Helen. You were on mute.
Sorry. Helen Miller.
Thank you.
Scanos Swagwegi. This is Amos Key Jr., counselor.
Welcome, Amos. We have a couple of us are a little under the weather, so Audrey will not be joining us tonight, and elected Chief Sherry Lynn Hill is not joining us. I hope to see Leslie, hopefully momentarily. And if we could just have the delegation stop sharing the screen just until we call for the presentation. Thank you. And identification of media, any in the building? Seeing none. Online? Hearing none. And community acknowledgements, we'll have a moment of silence, please. Thank you all. And adoption of the agenda, anything to add? I believe we're hoping to defer number 8 as Sherry Lynn's not available tonight. Number 8 would be the chief's update. Greg has one. And a mover. Cynthia will move. Melba will second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none. And we'll look to the minutes of November 25th.
I'll move the minutes.
Thank you, Helen. And Dale will second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none. Okay, we'll get right into our first delegation, and this is First Nations Child and Family Services Jordan's Principal Trout Class Action Settlement. We have 3 guests here who will be sharing a presentation that you should see online. I'll read out the recommendation just so community understands what they're here for. And I hear the presentation is lengthy, so they will be skipping over nothing important. So whereas the first claims period for the First Nations Child and Family Services and Jordan's Principal Settlement opened on March 10th, 2025. Whereas Castlemaine provides support to community and claimants on eligibility, required documentation, and submission of claims forms. Therefore, be it resolved that Six Nations of the Grand River 59th Elected Council receives the presentation as information, and therefore be it resolved that the Six Nations of the Grand River 59th Elected Council approves the Castlemaine Claims Helper to work with the Six Nations of the Grand River Community Liaison Officer within the territory to support Six Nations members in filling out and filing the necessary forms. So I believe, is it Dara that's going to start? If you wouldn't mind, we're live now to the community. If you wouldn't mind, quick introductions, and then you can
Oh,
move right into your presentation.
okay, thank you so much, Neowen, Goa, Waliwin, Nil Deliwiz, Dara, Nagapine Beaver, Najeo Nil Nagutguk. My name is Dara Pine Beaver. I live in Nagutguk, Tobic First Nation, which is an unceded, unsurrendered territory in New Brunswick for my people, the Wolastoqiyik. I am the regional liaison for New Brunswick and PEI, filling in tonight for Holly Johnson, who supports your community in her region of Ontario. And I am joined by colleagues tonight who I will pass the mic to introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. Betty Reckley here. Thank you for letting us join your meeting tonight. I think we only have about 20 minutes, so we'll give Dara the floor to do a high-level presentation for you. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Jody, can you hear me? Chambers to Jody. Amos, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know.
Well, that's good enough. Hopefully, we're still online, but we'll carry on. Or not.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay. And I found out that I didn't get to see all the participants, but I understand that I'm joined by a claims helper from Castlemaine as well, at Atawe Bush. Do you want to just introduce yourself real quick?
Just a second, Dara.
Yep.
Our screen is rebooting.
Okay.
I have not gotten confirmation that we're still live.
Okay.
I wonder if I can see.
We're still live.
Thanks, Jody. We're almost there. Apologize for our technical difficulties.
That's okay. Just completely impressed. I'm from a small community in New Brunswick, and I've never seen things done online for a community meeting, so it's amazing.
We won't dock your time.
So it's okay on our end because I can see and hear everything.
Perfect. Thanks, Helen. Okay, our screen is back up, and Dara, if you want to take it away.
Okay. And I just wanted to see if Adatawe Bush is online, and maybe she can introduce herself as the claims helper for the area.
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. My name is Adadui Adi Bush, and I'm the claims helper that is assigned to supporting Six Nations.
Okay. Thank you, Adatawe. And apologize for mispronouncing your name. Okay, so the agenda that we typically go through for this presentation is in front of you. I'm going to skip the part about the settlement and the administrator. I'm going to focus in on who can submit a claim and what help is available during the claims process, and how the claims process can work. And that should get us through in 20 minutes. So what is the settlement? I understand a presentation was provided to the community when it was first announced, but it is essentially the settlement agreement for discriminatory underfunding of First Nations in the Child and Family Services and the lack of essential services due to Canada's narrow application of Jordan's Principle. It brings together the several actions from the AFN, the Mushum plaintiffs, and the Trout class action for a total compensation of $23.34 billion for eligible class members, and none of that money is being used to cover administering the settlement agreement. So positions like mine or the claims helpers, that administration is funded separately by the Government of Canada. The role of the administrator is something I'm going to skip over, which is just the process that Deloitte is playing, and it speaks to the values and processes of us being appointed by the court to help support with regional and local knowledge claimants on the ground, learning from past compensation processes to improve from a trauma-informed approach, helping our people, our claimants, and nation members to access funding if they were eligible under one of the classes. So if those that were eligible who can submit a claim is the area I wanted to focus in on. So there are phases in this settlement. There are 9 classes included in the settlement, and the claims period for each class opens in phases. The claims period for the removed child class and the removed child family class opened 9 months ago on March 10th, 2025. To date, we have 93,000 applications nationally. It's a phased approach to help get compensation to claimants as quickly and effectively as possible. So as mentioned, March 10th, it launched. It opened the claims period for what we call Class 1 and Class 2, the removed child class, those who were removed from their families, and the removed child family class, those who were the parents or caregivers of the child who was removed. Phase 2, that date is not determined yet, but it will be for Jordan's Principal class, the Jordan's Principal family class, Essential Service class, Trout class, the Trout family class. And then phase 3 will be the Kith class and the Kith family class. The removed child class, you could be a removed child class member and eligible for compensation if you are a First Nation member and were removed from your home between April 1st, 1991 and March 31st, 2022 by child welfare authorities when you were taken from your home. So if you were a child under the age of majority at the time of your removal, and you or your caregiving parents or caregiving grandparents lived on a reserve or in the Yukon, and if Indigenous Services Canada paid for your move to a foster home, a group home, or another facility. The removed child family class. You could be a removed child family class member and eligible for compensation if you were the caregiving parent or the caregiving grandparent of a removed child class member. This means you are the removed child's biological or adoptive parent or grandparent of a First Nations or a First Nation step parent, and you lived with and were responsible for the child when they were removed from your care, or you were the caregiving parent or caregiving grandparent from whom the child was first removed, and that you did not commit abuse as defined by the settlement agreement that resulted in the child's removal, which means there's probably legal documentation if there was abuse, that it's recorded somewhere. In terms of the available supports, I hope the screen's big enough for those that are viewing. The supports offered by the administrator, there are we're there to help claimants fill out claims forms and also to find supporting documents and to understand payment choices and appeal decisions, and to function in a way that is culturally sensitive and trauma informed and provides claimant-centered help and service coordination for extra support when it's needed. I'm going to go through the support roles. So there are 4 ways to support the claimants. There's the contact center, which is the 1-833-852-0755 phone number. This is on all of the commercial and the online ads, the digital ads, as well as any print campaigns that you're seeing. There's some information that was sent into the communities, and claims helpers also share that number. That is the first point of contact if a claimant has questions. That's the administrator's contact center, and they can answer any questions about the settlement and the claims process as well as claims forms. And then there are regional liaisons, which is a position like myself. We're here to support First Nations and First Nations organizations in each regions. We're here to come to your communities, to meet with leadership and the tribal councils and the child and family service agencies to take in any questions, concerns, or any direction that you guys have that you would like to provide to us. We bring this back to the administrator. And then we have claims helpers who are dedicated support to individual claimants. I don't work with claimants. Holly Johnson wouldn't be working with claimants, the liaison for your area. It would be the folks who are identified as claims helpers. They are trained to work with individuals as they come forward needing extra help during the claims process. And then we also have service coordinators who are there to refer claimants to additional support and resources and services based on needs. And I believe in your area, I don't know if the service coordinator manager may have been hired, or there's also a service coordinator. That person was definitely hired. So there's 2 positions, and I think one was filled and the other one is underway. So the contact center, the administrator's contact center can answer questions about the settlement, the claims process, and claims forms. Who need, they can the class members can call the contact center at no charge by calling the 83 number, 833-852-0755, Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., excluding statutory holidays. And class members can also email the contact center at generalinfo@contact.fnchildclaims.ca, which is also their website address, the fnchildclaims.ca. The regional liaisons, given our experience and knowledge of the regions that we're dedicated to and the communities, we work directly with the First Nations and the First Nations organizations. We act as a point of contact with First Nations and the First Nations organizations to make sure that you're informed about the settlement agreement and the claims process. And it is our responsibility to stay up to date on the settlement agreement and the administration, and attend regional meetings and provide briefings on the settlement and share updates on progress and answer any questions that come from First Nations leaders in our regions. The Claims Helper program is designed to help the claimants who need additional support with their claims, including those facing accessibility barriers, such as living with a disability or experiencing incarceration or housing insecurity or any other unique challenges. And the contact center can refer class members to the Claims Helpers. And what they do is they work directly with the claimants in person where available, or on the phone online at no cost. They'll provide info about the settlement and the claims process, and they help claimants who need additional support with filling out a claim form and finding support and documentation and submitting appeal requests if it gets to that. The number of claims helpers and the type of work that they will do was approved by the parties with the direction of the Settlement Implementation Committee. The claims helpers in total, there are 160 across the country. Sorry, I need my sippy cup. In First Nations communities, there are 100 across the country. Urban claims helpers, there's 30, and virtual specific population claims helpers, there's 30. And so the virtual specific population support claimants in specific populations by phone or video. We talked about those that are facing housing insecurity or potentially incarcerated or potentially in safe houses, or that they're not in community. So they're there to help them. And in the urban claims helpers, they're offering support in the urban centers. And the service coordinators, if a claimant needs specific services, a claims helper can connect them with the service coordinator who can help them get those services. Claimants who need extra help can get individual support that they need. The support does not include a diagnosis or any professional counseling or clinical care. The service coordinator, regional manager, will work in designated regions to understand the local needs of the community members and potential claimants, and find the services that may support claimants if needed, and manage service coordinators, the positions under them. The service coordinator will work directly with claimants to understand the services that they need, find services available for the claimant, and refer claimants to those services. So this process map, it's lengthy. It's essentially just to show that a claimant would start by visiting the website. And if they don't need help, they go right to filling out a claim, right to the far right, to this section. And you fill out your claim, and then you file it, and you wait for a decision. And it's an approval or a denial. If it's a denial, you can go for an appeal, and a claims helper can support you with that. If you are somebody who does require help, if you need help filling out the form, you can call the 833 number that I mentioned, and they will help you with your claim form and answer any questions you have about the claims process. And if needed and you can't get through it on the phone, they will connect you to the claims helper in your area, who will then help you locally. And then if needed, where you require service coordination support, the claims helper will refer you to the service coordinator for additional support, which could mean by knowledge of what's available in your area, they'll refer you to additional existing supports available in your community or region, for cultural support workers, mental health clinicians, addiction support, health workers, social workers, youth peer supports, and financial education. The claims process. So this just talks about once it's submitted, what happens. The administrator will review it to make sure it's complete, determine eligibility. The claimant will receive a decision letter, either approval or denial or inconclusive. That means that it'll require more information, and it'll lay out next steps. And if needed, potentially the appeal. And if it's an approval, they contact you to get your bank account information or an address to mail you a check if approved. The claim process notes I wanted to highlight because under the settlement agreement, claims submitted by family class members will not receive a decision until after the class member's ultimate claims deadline. And this will be after the 3-year claims period plus a 1-year extension period. So should claimants wish to file an appeal after receiving a decision, they should do so within 60 days of receiving a decision. Compensation amounts and timelines vary by class and circumstances. There's a base compensation for the removed child class, which may be up to $40K, and base compensation for the removed child family class could vary. If eligible in multiple classes, claimants will receive the higher single amount for which they qualify, and compensation amounts will not be stacked or combined across the various classes. Prepare and just get a government ID. If you go to the website for First Nations Child and Family Services and Jordan's Principal Settlement, it'll give you a list of IDs. Have an updated mailing address and a valid bank account for depositing your check if you're going to get a direct deposit. And if you are a representative for a claimant, if you are somebody had passed and you're the beneficiary or executor, you need to have proof of that. So if somebody with a disability or if they've deceased, just have information to demonstrate and confirm that you are the representative for that claimant. So the documentation could be if a person is under disability, have a power of eternity or public guardianship. If they're deceased, a grant of authority, such as a will or an ISC letter of admin. If the claimant is deceased, a death certificate is also required. Where a grant of authority is not in place, family members of a deceased class member can make a claim as an heir. And as a First Nations biological family member, you do not need to provide proof of a relationship with your claim form. The administrator will reach out if it's required. And if you are not First Nation or a biological family member, you will need to provide evidence of your relationship to the deceased. Important reminders. The first claim period opened on March 10th, 2025 for the removed child and removed child family class. Claims period for other classes will open in phases as the federal court approves each process. You can check back to the settlement website for updates. You do not need a lawyer to submit a claim. Legal info is available free of charge through class counsel in this process, and they could be contacted at the administrator number, the 833 toll-free number. Just a caution, beware of fraud. No one should be asking for personal information right now. Any suspicious emails or calls about it or coming from saying that they're the administrator and it seems sketchy, we just urge you to call the toll-free number and report it. And just to stay informed, you can sign up for updates on the website and you can unsubscribe at any time. And here's some information for wellness supports. There's free mental health counseling. Most of these are general sites available. Hope for Wellness. There's English, French, Cree, and Ojibwe, and Anishinaabe on request. Children and youth can also call the Kids Help phone line if it's triggering, or text 686868 to access additional trauma-informed support services offered through Canada's designated First Nations Child and Family Services and Jordan's Principal Settlement. Health and cultural support services, you can also call the number 1-866-414-8111. And that would be it. I pulled up my Nova Scotia one. I tried to find the shorter presentation for you guys. I think that was 20 minutes. If you have any questions, we can take them.
Thank you so much, Dara, on behalf of the council for being here and presenting. I'll open the floor up for questions. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Dara. It's Councillor Greg Fraser here. Thank you for the presentation. I just had just a couple of statistical questions. You were saying there was 93,000 applicants in Canada. You also said that there was a reserve, on reserve, and off reserve eligibility, correct? Is that correct? In that,
Uh,
I was just gonna ask, if then you can answer it, I just want to get my questions out and it may save time. Then, and of course, the last is that for our workers, Six Nations of the Grand River, we would be processing all First Nations applicants in our area. Is that correct?
yeah, so Adatawe, you're there to support all of the applications in the area on and off reserve.
And how many, in terms of the 93,000, how many are, I just wanted to get the breakdown of what the percentage would be reserve and on-reserve applicants. That was all.
Unfortunately, we don't have that now, and the 93,000 that have applied nationally are from both classes, both the class 1 and class 2. They were either children who were removed or they're the family of the removed children. So, and they're not broken down by province yet.
Thank you.
Deb, you have a question? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Dara. I just am wondering, is there a closing date for these first two classes?
Yeah, Betty, can you come in and explain for those that are not age and majority yet? I did speak to the 3 years plus 1 year, but that part's a little bit confusing, and you always do a better job at responding to that in terms of how long it's open.
Yeah, right now, the removed child class and family class is open for 3 years. That will go to March 10, 2028. There is an option to extend it by 1 year, so March 10, 2029, which has to be, if you want that extension, just apply online or contact the contact center, and they'll give you more information about that. The children that are underage, they can start to apply 2 years before they turn age of majority. So in Ontario, it's 19, I believe. They can put their application in when they turn 17. They won't get paid right away. They'll only get paid when they turn age of majority. But as long as their application is in the system, that's great. The administrator will contact them when they turn 19, just to verify their information. So their mailing address, their telephone number, is there, any other information that's missing? That's how that will work for the time being.
I also just wanted to mention that we plan on in putting this information on our Six Nations of the Grand River website with a link to your website for people. We also have Lori Martin on the line, who is our community liaison officer. And we would also like to organize information sessions for small groups who may want to come and sit down and talk about this, maybe receive help with these applications. So Lori's going to be reaching out to our regional claims helper to help set up some dates and locations in our community for this. So we will be in contact about that.
That's great. Thanks.
Thanks, Deb. Any other questions from council?
I have a comment. I don't have a question.
Go ahead, Helen.
This application process is worse than the school settlement money. I don't know how I can see a lot of people having a difficult time doing this. So I think I don't know how to say her name, but Tawi, I think is going to be very busy, and she's going to be very busy trying to help people with these applications. Why do they have to make them so difficult? Like, I think this, they come up with these settlements and they turn around and make it so difficult for people to apply. And I don't know. I just know I just know people are probably going to run into a lot of issues. So Atatui is, like I said, is going to be busy. So are you gonna be located here in the community, or I don't understand how that's gonna work. So if somebody could explain that maybe?
Okay. So for the most part on the application process, I've gone on, and for those that are removed, it's your status card number only, and your at the time that you were removed, and your name, and that's it. And you show your ID. And if you're removed, if you were family of a removed child, and I know this just through having a family member that I witnessed them applying in and wanted to see what the process was. She just had to calculate back to the day that she remembered her daughter was removed, put that year in, and her status card, and that was it. So there was only, I think, 3 boxes: your name, your date of birth, your status card number, and the date or year they were removed. So if somebody is having difficulty to fill those out, because there's no harms grid in this is a discriminatory compensation settlement, then they can call the 833 phone number. And if the like 99% of the time, the person at the other end at the admin line can help that person to resolve any questions they may have in filling out that application. And if they can't, then they will connect them with a claims helper who will follow up with them and then set up a time to meet with them. Adatawi, I assume that you're in the area, maybe near Brantford, or I don't know if you're in community, but for the most part in New Brunswick, we have many, and they live right in the community, but our communities are only 2 hours away. And so they've been setting up sessions in various communities and advertising for walk-in sessions for claimants to come in, and they'll support them in that. And that's probably a similar approach that Ontario is taking as well. But I know you're a huge province and huge communities, so I'm not. I'll have to leave it to the claims helper to speak to how she's going to reach and achieve support for claimants.
So currently, I'm in contact with Lori Martin, and we're planning for sessions at the end of January, and I am located in the community. So stay tuned for updates. That's coming soon. And we also have local claims helpers near me. So I'll also have some assistance to make sure we can support everyone.
Thank you both for that. And I think that's the goal, is to make sure that everybody feels supported in this process. We have another question from Cynthia.
I thank you for your the presentation. And I think at the beginning you explained that excuse me, that you were appointed by the court, you being Castleman were appointed by the court to help in this process. As part of those orders, have the societies across Canada been ordered to assist in this endeavor at all? We know that the information they hold is very confidential. So if there were a family or a child and they didn't know the answer to one of those 3 boxes, like the date they were removed, which I could see happening, they might know the year about, depending how old they were, but I'm sure that's going to come up. So I don't know if if there's an order for the society to assist, societies rather, across Canada.
Betty, I'll have to lean on you for that. Is there a directive for Child and Family Services or any of the agencies to provide information and dates to families? Has there been an order? Not that I'm aware of, but I think what I've witnessed is wherever they can support, they have been, but there's likely no obligation for them to be able to provide, or for them to have to provide that. But I'll lean on you to respond to that, Betty.
Okay. To my knowledge, no child welfare society or Child and First Nation agency are required to help, but like there's no order, there's nothing put in place for that. Right now, the children who are applying for their compensation don't have to know the date they were removed. It's just the family class. The family class will have to give an approximate date of when their child was removed from their care. Castlemaine is working with Deloitte, and Deloitte is the court-appointed administrator. I just wanted to make that clear from the outset. But I know some families are already talking to child welfare agencies to see if they can get their file. It's not really needed unless you know the date, because we're not asking for this particular phase. We're not asking for any child welfare records, nothing like that. We're not asking people to tell their story. We just want to make the first process as easy as possible on them. So that's why we're asking for their name, their address, their status card information, and send that in. And if there's any questions, if the administrator needs more information, they'll get back to the person, to the claimant. But we're hoping that to make this first phase, not as cumbersome on the claimant.
Thank you.
I hope that helps.
Thank you, Betty. Any further questions before we move to the recommendation? Melba?
I wanted to say that it's really great that we have our own people that have positions in the community, Lori Martin and Caitlin, and a lot of positions have been named. So we shouldn't have too much difficulty getting help, but I guess getting to know who to contact, because there is a lot of coordinator, for example, positions, regional liaison, it goes on and on. So it should be smoother than it has been with possibly any settlement where you get help in various ways. And it's really nice that you're talking about the incarcerated, accessibility, people that need help. So I think things should be just fine with this settlement agreement. Thanks.
Okay, Council. I read the full recommendation before the presentation, but I'll read the therefores again. Therefore, be it resolved that Six Nations of the Grand River 59th Elected Council receives the presentation as information. Therefore, be it resolved that the Six Nations of the Grand River 59th Elected Council approves the Castlemaine Claims Helper to work with the Six Nations of the Grand River Community Liaison Officer within the territory to support Six Nations members in filling out and filing the necessary forms. Is there a mover for that? Cynthia? And second by Melba? All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, motion is carried. And a waive second reading. Cynthia, and second by Melba, all in favor. Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none. Thank you very much, ladies, for being here. One item, I guess it's just an afterthought. I know that you'll be meeting with Lori Martin and collaborating on potential in community meetings, but is there paperwork? A lot of our members don't like to use internet or don't have a phone. Is there actual pamphlets with your support information on it that you might bring so that it's available? We can have some here at the administration building.
Yes, the claims helper will be able to bring some material. The claim helper can also bring copies of the forms for you. If you don't we can print them off and bring them over to you, and anything else that you might require.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for being here and struggling through our technical difficulties with us. Have a great evening.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're not that far behind. 6:50. Our next delegation is Scott Hill and Austin Hill of Grandview Corporation. Scott, I know you've been here before. In the middle there, do you know how to work the microphones? I don't have a resolution or recommendation in front of me at all, so I imagine you're going to inform us what this is about.
So I just want to thank Band Council for having us tonight. My name's Scott Hill, and to my left is my son Austin and business partner. Um, I say son first because I got to remind him all the time that I'm the boss and he's the son, but we still are business partners. But so we've been working for the past year now with Tim Hortons. We inquired about Tim Hortons on property that we own on Indian Line, and we kind of got thrown into the process and start going through questionnaires. And about 4.5 months in, they informed us that the two existing Tim Hortons on our territory were for sale. And would you guys be interested in purchasing those? And we said, hell yeah, we would be. It's a no brainer. And so we went down in that direction. I guess we had a direction that they understood that they had a plan for us. We and eventually at the end of the process, we they came up with a price, and obviously Lannon's involved with this. Lannon Millen is the existing owner, and so next Tuesday we are scheduled to take over. We have our funding in place, and there's the one cherry to put on top of all this, and our lending agency, RBC, has requested a band council resolution for both stores. And that's what we're here tonight to request, that we have your blessing with a band council resolution to basically finalize this for us. Austin, did you have anything to add?
No. Sorry, yeah, I guess there's one thing to add. So, each store will be purchased under a separate corporation. So we technically are asking for a separate bank council resolution for each corporation. So 2 bank council resolutions.
Okay, we have a question from Cynthia.
I'm glad the coffee's gonna keep getting poured over there. Council does get similar requests, and of course, when people want to buy or borrow money to build a home, they require a BCR because, of course, it's crown land. You obviously know that. But what happens is the land in the house, in case of the individual not making the payments, would be relinquished to band council, because then we're off the hook for any liability. I just wonder you said it's 2 sites that are currently operating, I guess one across the road and one across the river. So are those, we don't know the amount of the loan, but would it be covered sufficiently, or is there anything in the documentation just to give us comfort that any liability we would have, heaven forbid, you should not be able to meet your end of the payment schedule?
So I think if I can answer that, it's technically not a business sale, and we're not buying the property. It's an asset sale. It's labeled as an asset sale. So essentially, what they're lending us money to purchase, or a portion of the dollars, I should say, to purchase the assets, which are, the ovens and basically anything and everything that can be picked up and moved within the building. So at this time, um, Landon retains ownership of the actual land.
Okay, so if I could follow up. So these assets, the coffee pots, the, whatever all these assets are, is that equal then to to cover the liability of the loan amount that you're needing for this?
Yeah, it's supposed to.
Okay, that was my question. I
Okay.
wasn't quite sure, because I know we're familiar with, for the homeowners, the borrowing for building a home.
Yeah. Thanks, Cynthia.
Dale, go ahead.
Yeah, just to clarify, I guess this isn't really a council resolution in the sense of how we had done with the mortgage. This is more like a chattel. And all we're doing is we're granting permission for the World Bank, if, if it is required for them to enter onto Six Nations, to retain any assets that may be outstanding based on the loan amount. So council wouldn't be going on a hook for anything other than granting permission to the World Bank as the lender to enter on the Six Nations to retain any assets that would offset any deficit or loan that Scott and Austin would have obtained. That's all it is.
Thanks, Dale.
Greg, go ahead.
I know the requirements are really stringent. I'm sure you did well. How did the donut college go?
For those who aren't familiar, yes, there's a very strict process to go through. We actually we have an NDA, and this would be one of the questions normally I'd say, you know what, we're gonna back off this one because we have an NDA, but no, we'll give in, Greg. It was great. We spent a month in Oakville training at their corporate store, and we met a ton of great people. We went through all of their processes, and we're hoping that this is something that we can continue strong within the community. We want to expand as well, bring more jobs to the community, keep more money in the community. So we're really looking forward to this opportunity.
I don't retain a whole lot, so when it came to test time, I just made sure I sat close to Austin and kind of looked over his shoulder every now and again. But yeah, it gave us an opportunity. Like I like the kind of coming from that retail part. I like the interaction with people well, since I was 12 years old, I worked down on John Farmer at Hill's Grocery. I've always had fun with the cash register and pumping gas and that. So that's kind of my forte. And Austin's got a few years, 6 or 7 years experience at Burger Barn as a cook. So we found our niches within, and then we plan on being involved as much as we possibly can. It's not, I mean, I think anybody that's ever ran a business knows that if the owner's there and helping out as much as possible, there's that much more chance of being successful. So that's kind of what we're looking forward to.
Dale, go ahead.
Yeah, just looking at your paperwork here, Scott, I know it says incorporation number, but there's only one listed. You said there was two. But I know there's paperwork to sign two separate resolutions, but they're both referring to the Grandview Corporation 10013145358. So I didn't see there was another certificate of incorporation.
So if you see where item C, and it says Grandview Corporation 2 Limited on the one, and then just strictly Grandview Corporation on the other. Is that?
What was that?
They're two separate documents.
Yeah, I seen it's two separate documents. Oh, that's there.
Greg is moving. There's a motion on the floor.
I'm declaring a conflict.
Okay, thank you, Helen. Question on the motion, Cynthia?
Yeah, I wonder about the wording there. It says Six Nations of Grand River 59th elected council support Grandview Corporation's purchase of the two Tim Hortons sites. Remember my question to you and explain what's not actually the site, it's the assets. I wonder if there's should we say that of the Tim Hortons, of the two Tim Hortons assets or site assets? Would that properly or better describe it? Because you said it's not actually the site, the land, and retains ownership of the building, the land, it's whatever's inside.
Dale?
Yeah, like in the document, it has land council resolution regarding access to reserve. And then there's A, B, and C. And then it says, under that, so describe the assets, and it says all equipment, leasehold assets of whatever kind situated on the reserve, including without limitation, all machinery, tools, apparatus, plants, furniture, fixture, and vehicles or whatsoever nature or kind. So that's basically listing the assets that would be in the store.
Yeah, but I'm just saying this resolution says site, it doesn't say asset.
Yeah, I know, because this resolution that's listed on our agenda is a little bit different than what's in the package.
Oh, it's worded differently?
Yes, it's almost 2 pages in the package, and then it's got 2 separate certificates where they want us all to sign.
Are we able to reword the resolution?
I think the chair needs to see it. Briefing note for San.
So what it says is the Six Nations of the Grand River 59th elected council support Grandview Corporation's purchase of the two Tim Hortons sites on Six Nations by signing Royal Bank of Canada's Band Council resolution. That resolution actually has a name which might clarify things. Band Council resolution regarding access to reserve, if that could be added to the resolution and take out maybe the sites.
But Dale said there's a more full one in the package.
Yeah, this one.
I think that's what she's saying when it says the Royal Bank Council resolution regarding access to reserve. And then, yeah, we can make that as an attachment, or just say as attached.
So
It's
if,
quite extensive there.
yeah, if
There it is.
Greg is okay with clarifying the recommendation language,
Therefore, this is the one, not that little thing. See, now therefore has resolved that.
you want me to read it out?
Well,
Oh.
this is what we should be approving,
Yeah.
not that little blurb there. Okay, but, because the full, as you said, is in the package, which is
Yeah.
different than the one on there.
Nobody's fault, Natasha. Now, therefore, the First Nation, so this is coming straight from RBC's document. Now, therefore, the First Nation being represented by the Council of the First Nation has resolved that 1, the First Nation does hereby grant the bank and its agents, employees, successors, and assigns access to the reserve to inspect, seize, or otherwise realize on the collateral and any other collateral obtained in addition to or in substitution thereof. 2, the band manager is authorized to enter into one or more agreements with the bank to give effect to this resolution. 3, this resolution is irrevocable and shall be binding upon the First Nation, notwithstanding any change in the constitution of the Council of the First Nation. 4, the recitals form an integral part of this resolution. And it is hereby undersigned that the foregoing is a resolution of the Council of the First Nation, and that the resolution was passed by a quorum consisting of the majority of the councillors of the First Nation present at a meeting of that council duly convened, and is thus binding on the council and the First Nation, notwithstanding any change in the constitution of the Council of the First Nation or the First Nation itself. And it asks for our signatures. Yes, ma'am, Shirley.
So I would suggest you're on point with the now therefore, but I would also suggest that you add in the 4 previous points to that, where the first whereas is on the top of the page where it says, whereas Six Nations of the Grand River is an Indian band within the meaning of the Indian Act, provisions B and C are alternatives. And whereas the Royal Bank of Canada have made available or may in the future make available certain loans or credit facilities to its customers. And whereas Grandview Corporation, so that way we can do one for Grandview Corporation and then do another resolution for Grandview Corporation too. And because this also, in this first whereas, it also includes the fact that it's a leasehold and it mentions the assets. So I would suggest that that first whereas and the now therefore that incorporate the one resolution. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Shirley. Dale?
But along with Shirley, let's just take this resolution and put it here, make it 6.2.
Because
Greg?
it does say that band council resolution regarding access.
Yeah, I think that's more appropriate. Yes, I agree.
Okay. Greg has moved the resolution as shown here in our paperwork. Dale is seconding. All in favor? Oh, yep. Any opposed? We'll do questions after Amos. Seeing none. Amos, I'm sorry I missed you. Was it a question?
No, I was just going to support it. So
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
support. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I'll move on to the second one then for Corporation 2, whatever that is.
Okay. Cynthia is seconding
As in the package and complete with the whereas therefore.
for Grandview Corporation 2. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none. And a waive second reading on both. Dale and Greg, all in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming in, Scott.
Thanks a lot. And I just want to acknowledge quickly,
Congratulations.
I know you guys are busy tonight, but with Helen declaring a conflict, I think it's important to acknowledge what Landon Miller's done with these two restaurants and how much work he's put into bringing them to the community. And, you know, we're looking forward to carrying that torch and carrying on with both of them. And thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
We appreciate
Yeah.
fresh coffee.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in. You didn't hear that. Okay. They're already getting the complaints. Okay. Council, we're back on schedule. That second delegation was scheduled until 7:10. It is 7:09.
Whoa, excellent job. Jill.
It's,
You're hired.
it's got nothing to do with me, I assure you. Number 3, we have Ruby Jacobs, who is the president of the Six Nations Health Foundation. Welcome, Ruby. You can direct your colleagues to come up if you wish, of course. We need one more chair.
You guys can sit off.
Is it on? Thank you for having us. We hope we were bringing you some good news to give you something tonight. And it's been a while coming. We're from the Six Nation Health Foundation, which was started in 2008, if you remember, and it is a registered charity. So we have to abide by the charity rules. And our mandate, just to briefly tell you, is to raise funds for projects and so forth in the community that don't have core funding. And also, it's to support um, well-being and health and wellness events and situations in the community as well, helping to raise the bar of health excellence in our community. So those are our two mandates that we work under. And so we've been working, we're going to report on from 23 to 25. We've done 4 different, 2 moccasin walks. What's the full name, Lois? What's the full name of the moccasin walk? We, yeah, our mock walk, we call it, sort of. And 2 of those we've done in those 2 years, and then we've done 2 golf tournaments. So up until the end of this past year, this is the money we're going to present for what we've made for the hospice. We really support the hospice. We know it's so critically needed in the community to support our families that have end of life family needs. So we're here to try and help with that wonderful project you got going in the community. And we'd also like to thank all of the people who participated in those walks and in the golf tournaments, because they're community members that had faith in us to have that for, and their way of giving back to the community too, to help support this. And I'd like to say there's 5 of us here, not just, this is Bonnie Davis, who works very hard for and Lois Bumbray, and Dean's part of us, and so is Melba. There's 5 of us, and the other 4 are Dustine Hill, Kim Hill, Patty Venivri, and Anita Hill. So those are our members. And Kev Mentor, he took over Aunt Lolly's position. Everybody knew who Aunt Lolly was. And so this is I'm just going to let Bonnie tell you the amount. She's got it in her head, what we're about to give you. And we want to have somebody receive this from us, from the council, whoever you're designating to do that. And we'd like to get a receipt for it. So Bonnie, go ahead.
Okay. How do I put this on? Just press
Yeah.
Okay. I went over the records and Dustine also helped me. Dustine Hill. She was the assistant treasurer, and I helped her along the way with everything. And so we had to sort out what belonged to the hospice and what belonged to the Six Nations Health Foundation. So we diligently looked at everything, and so I'm here to present a check. And who do you want me to give it to? Oh, to Greg? Okay. Yeah, I'll tell him. Yeah. So the check that I have is for the hospice. The amount is $33,481.66. So I'm really happy about that because we actually started with Lois Bumbry joining us in May of 2023. And our first event was the Moccasin Walk over at the Blue Track. And when I looked at everything over the years, the past couple of years, that was the most amount that we had raised. So the Moccasin Walk is one of the best fundraising events that I can say because I looked at all the reports. And the next one would be the golf tournaments that we've had over the years. That was next in line. And then they also did Christmas bulbs, and that was another event that they do. Yeah, we all do.
And I do want to say that it was all a team effort, everybody working together, and that's how we, and the community also helping us is why we were able to present this check. Because if it wasn't for the community, where would we be? And that's why we're so happy to present this amount for the hospice, because it's a need out there, and we're pro for Six Nations having a hospice. I know what it's like. I've been through it with different people, and I actually visited a hospice, so I know what it looks like in there. I know what they do, and but I know our people can look after it. So that's why I'm happy to present this check. Again, the amount is, we have the check addressed to Six Nations Elected Council, $33,481.66. That's not the total amount. So we still will present another check coming up in the future, and that would be for starting April 2025. So this is partial. This is a partial payment.
I think I can say from the table, thank you very much, and from the community, many, many, many Nyawas. We hope that this gets up and running as soon as possible. So you'll see our little ticker outside there move up $33,000. And if it is okay with you, Greg is the co-chair of the Wellbeing Committee. I don't know if he's agreeable to accepting the check.
Yeah, sure, but I think a really strong supporter and has been Amos. Amos, of course, is our chair of our well-being committee, and with Amos's permission, I would like to accept the check. I know Amos has been always a strong supporter of this endeavor. I know it's still in the works, but it's well needed for our community, and I think once it gets up and running, and there's even room to actually expand and grow if our community really needs it. So it's really going to be a positive, I believe, a positive effect on our community. Amos, I think Amos should have a few words because he's been such a strong supporter of this of the hospice.
Well, I'd just like to thank the delegation, Ruby and Bonnie and all the ladies there. Um, on behalf of the well-being portfolio, we would certainly say, "Iso nyawa." Thank you very much, and for your fundraising, and it's going to go towards our hospice. And I'd just like to thank all of the staff as well on our side, uh, led by Deborah Jonathan. Um, she is the one that really supported us at the well-being portfolio committee to looking at a hospice. I know we all go through that with our families and our families, and we do need a place. I know I had some recent uh, events in my family, and we had to say goodbye in a hospital to our family, and it would have been nice to have a hospice where we could have brought I think we all went through this, our families, we could have brought them there and said goodbye in a serene place, so that they can start their next journey. So I know everybody understands that in a community, and that's probably what's pushing us to develop this hospice. So we'd just like to thank you all, and of course I would like Greg to accept the check on our behalf from this fine group tonight. So I say congratulations to you, and then I say nyawa to us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Amos, for your words.
Yeah.
And now we're on to the receipt. And they'll take care of that, and we will move on. Appreciating all the delegations tonight. We're moving on, Council, to number 7, which is a recommendation from Built Environment, Climate Adaptation, Lands and Membership Committee. The recommendation reads, whereas the Six Nations Public Works Department oversees the Roads Department, who are responsible for road winter maintenance within the Six Nations of the Grand River community. Whereas the Roads Department requires materials, specifically a 3-to-1 pickled sand salt mix and straight salt as part of their winter maintenance. Whereas the Six Nations Public Works Department has budgeted $300,000 for this expense in their 2025-2026 operation and maintenance O&M budget. Whereas the Six Nations Public Works Department have requested quotes for the supply of 5,000 tons of a 3-to-1 pickled sand salt mix and 300 tons of salt from vendors. Therefore, be it resolved that the Built Environment, Climate Adaptation, Lands and Membership Committee recommends that the Six Nations of the Grand River 59th Elected Council approve to award the 2025-2026 sand salt supply contract to Waterford Sand and Gravel Limited at an upset limit of $309,945 for funds identified as the Six Nations Public Works 2025-2026 operations and maintenance budget. Dale is going to move, Hazel is going to second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, Dale will move to waive second reading, Hazel will second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much. As we mentioned at the beginning, number 8, we will defer to when Sherry Lynn is back. Number 9 is update from committees, and we have Wellbeing Committee. Amos, do you have an update available?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you have the floor.
It's probably more it's at a higher level, so hopefully we'll get some more detail from the minutes as you have them. And then also from if Deborah's in the room, she can support what I'm going to present to you. So I'd just like to thank the portfolio members and our staff, not my staff, but our staff at Wellbeing. And they've done a great job. We have a very robust meeting every month, and we have all kinds of great suggestions. So I'd just like to keep thanking them for that. I also want to acknowledge, I guess we started the meeting with a great gift from the foundation, the Health Foundation. And then hopefully we'll end my presentation with a nice announcement as well. And I hope Deborah's there to help me with that one. So I just wanted to, we have standing agenda items on our agenda at Wellbeing. And of course, I'll just try to go down them at a higher level just to give you an update of what we're looking at. So the first one is for the nursing home residents at Fox Ridge and Brantford are at the point of our last meeting on November 28th. We are in the middle of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. It was brought to our attention through Deborah Jonathan and her staff that we're just formalizing the last bit of wording for the agreement for a 2-year agreement to bring our people home to Brantford at Fox Ridge. And we are looking at a 2-year agreement, but with an opportunity to extend if we need to, depending on our build of our new nursing home. And so we're working on that, the final stages of that, and then hopefully we can bring our seniors home probably in the very early new year. and Deb might have an update from November 28th already, so she might be able to help me with that. So that's a great news for our community. We're bringing our seniors home, closer to home, and well, it is our home. It's Brantford is our home. We own the land here, so this is our land, and so they're bringing them home. Um, the next item, is the food summit. As you know, we've been talking in the last couple of months to have a food summit for the three S's: sovereignty, sustainability, and uh, sustainability and sovereignty and security for our foods. So we're now looking at having a summit in February 2026 of all of the stakeholders and partners in the community to begin an organic, pardon the pun, an organic agenda to see whether there's an appetite and a willingness to bring everybody closer together to talk about the three S's and move forward with that in the next year and perhaps create a task force that would oversee that from the community and our partnership with the stakeholders, including the farmers, the hunters, the food bank, the school nutrition system. Uh, I've been also working and looking at closely the hydroponics um, endeavor to try and get that kind of motion going. Also, to bring in our own organic, hopefully an organic farm or greenhouse that was brought to us by some staff, former staff, and also with Guyana, say, our greenhouses across the river. So we want to bring them all together and talk about having a task force or some kind of a mechanism that would help us with the three S's of our foods for Six Nations. The next area is Jordan's Principle. As you know, it's we heard some delegation tonight. It's ongoing. Uh, we're stymied by the mess that it's in with uh, Indigenous Services Canada. As you know, we've gone to several meetings in the last month or so with AFN, COO, even with the task caucus. We're all talking about Jordan's Principle. But in our portfolio, we discuss having a internal task force, is establishing one that would have social services, health, and education being the leads on that. But we also would support it from the portfolio, and then just see how we can maneuver through that. There's so many things, moving parts at this point, but we thought we would take stock by having an internal task force established, and then we'll bring that forward to council once it gets formulated. So that's what we want to try and explore, having a task force on Jordan's Principle. Um, the other standing item that we have on our agenda is Caneos, of course. Deb gave us an update about, of course, there's some contention about how much uh, refurbishment and renovation they're going to offer through ISK. Of course, we're saying we should build a whole new medical arts center, but maybe that's part of our integrated health system. But in the meantime, we want to develop Ganeos and refurbish it. But there's some contention about even how much money they're going to invest in our roof. So it's as simple as that, but it's still contentious, and we still want to work with our partners to make sure that we get the right quotes, that our staff, our maintenance staff, and crew are listened to because they have their own study as well. So we want to make sure that we can support them as well. So that's where the standing item on that sits right now. Um, we did have so that was Ganeos, the medical report, and we'll bring a more robust report next month in January about where we are with Ganeos and give you a full update on that, the status and the next steps. Um, we also are looking at the uninsured health benefits for First Nations. Um, we are sending a delegation to the summit that the AFN are having in Vancouver, British Columbia, February 2nd to the 4th. We're asking Councillor Greg Fraser to attend, along with our liaison officer, Abigail Hill. and they'll bring back the information about uninsured health benefits for Six Nations. So we're sending them along to gather that information for us as a delegation to that conference. Um, the diagnostic center, it's sort of stalled right now, but we want to kickstart that in the new year and make sure that we can look at that again seriously. We have a lot of questions with the province. Um, why why no First Nation in Ontario got a license to establish a diagnostic center in their recent call for approving licenses. As you know, we talked about there was one person in Toronto area that got 7 of those licenses. So we're doing some homework behind the scenes to find out what happened and why we were shut out of that process. So we're going to be doing that with our our friends and partners within the province. So that's a diagnostic center. We're looking at that as well. Um, and we had a delegation from a Larry Pomerantz. He's from the Rain Barrel Corporation. And as you know, we're running into climate warming, whatever climate difficulties. And his company is looking at gathering water through our roofs and our buildings, of all our buildings in our homes, to reestablish the collection of water through rain barrels. And the technology is at the level that there's even screens so that mosquitoes and things don't grow in our water anymore, like when we were children. So that's an opportunity for a partnership. So we referred that to ACDEV, and hopefully they can develop a partnership. He's looking at developing an economic viability partnership so that we could be involved with the Six Nations to collect our waters through rain barrel technology. So that's a nice. Um, it was nice to hear about that opportunity and to take us forward. The other delegation or other person that we got to meet was Jackie Paulus. She's our senior manager for public health data, um, and they're collecting data about our community. As you know, we need to know what is in front of us, and just so we can do some long range planning for our health needs. And she's part of that responsibility to gather that data to that summary of questionnaires that they're developing. And then if anybody in the community wants to participate, you're more than welcome. Their office is in the Iroquois Village Plaza, so you can participate and to give a good context, and it's all confidential, but we need the information so that we can move forward about what is our mortality and what's ailing us as a community. So that was a great opportunity to meet Jackie Paulus that day. And Greg mentioned to us, Councilor Greg Fraser, he's still working on a site visit for us to visit the Kahnawake Hospital, and that can give us spin some wheels for us as well about whether we want to go down that road to reestablish another hospital here at Grand River. So Greg is working with folks at Kahnawake to try and bring us there in the new year for a site visit to just see how they operate that health center. Um, by way of advocacy, I've just got 2 more items. We really need to meet with Jane Philpott and Sylvia Jones, either together or separately. We're bringing that again back to the chief's office, and then also our authority within the portfolio to go and meet with Jane Philpott, who was brought over by Ford's government from Queen's University to lead the primary care initiative in Ontario. And as you know, I mentioned in the last couple of meetings, we should probably have another 10 more doctors available, even general physicians at Grand River here for our population of 15,000. The numbers they use is that there should be 1 physician for every 1,000 people in your community. So that would mean we need 15 physicians here. That's without even being a specialist, but just for primary care. And I keep mentioning as well to anyone that listen to me, even my MPs and MPPs, that we don't even have a walk-in clinic that's but now we do. It was brought to our attention that we're going to kickstart a new walk-in clinic for Grand River, but we don't have an emergency and urgent care center. So what happens with us is when we fall ill, we call the ambulance, our paramedics take us to neighboring hospitals, and then we populate the emergency wards while they triage us. I mean, and that's why there's so many of us in the emergency care, because we don't have emergency and urgent care in our community. So that's another part of our advocacy that we're looking for with Sylvia Jones and Jane Philpott. So we want to be able to advocate that in a new year, and I've asked my staff to let's put together a big plan. First of all, starting with an abstract of who we are at Grand River, how many people we are, that we suffer from a low mortality rate, which is 10 years below the national average, all of those kind of figures, and then share with them our aspiration for internet in an integrated health system from prenatal to end of life. So we want to put that all together in the next couple of months and then meet with these primary folks, Jane Philpott and Sylvia Jones. So that's going to be our work in the next quarter to try and get that meeting. And as I said, we don't have to meet with them at the same day. It can be separate. I'm willing to go and meet with the chief or whoever wants to be in a delegation to meet with these folks to bring that to them. So I just wanted to end this. I hope Deborah's in the office. Is Deborah there? Deborah Jonathan?
Yes, Deb's here.
Okay, Deborah, can you they announced and they brought to the portfolio that we won a sort of a national standard accreditation for our health services at Six Nations. So the community should be very proud of our staff and our units who work in health. And if Deb could speak to that Six Nations, I guess we were awarded this designation of that's exemplary of the health services at Six Nations. So Deborah, you could just speak to that, and I'll end there. And as I said, we stopped with the hospice donation, and we end with this. So I just want to thank all of my team and our colleagues in the portfolio for supporting our efforts for the community. So Deborah, I'll share the microphone with you.
Yeah, Amos.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring an update as well. I think everybody here is aware that the Department of Wellbeing underwent an accreditation survey in September of this year. And we just learned that the Department of Wellbeing has been awarded exemplary standing, which is the highest level of recognition through Accreditation Canada. This achievement reflects the incredible amount of dedication and work that happens across all the programs and services within the Wellbeing Department every day. The surveyor specifically recognized the team's strengths, their teamwork, and the care and respect shown to the clients and the families that we serve. I just want to congratulate the Department of Wellbeing. It is the largest department within SNGR, and every program that I have worked with has shown the dedication and the respect for the community. They really, truly work hard to make sure that our Haudenosaunee ways of being are incorporated into the services that they provide the community. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate them on this achievement. It is truly the highest achievement that you can receive under Accreditation Canada. Now,
Thank you, Deb. Round of applause for everybody involved.
Yeah. So that's our report, Chair.
Thank you so much, Amos. Can I have a mover to accept the well-being update? Greg, moved by Greg, seconded by Hazel. All in favor? Any opposed? Council, you'll have to forgive me in my haste and in the excitement. I neglected to accept the donation check from the Six Nations Health Foundation as information for our agenda. So if I could have a mover to do that, accepting the donation from the Six Nations Health Foundation of $33,481.64. Moved by Hazel.
I'll move on that.
Seconded by Amos. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none. Motion is carried. Appreciate that. Natasha, you don't need. Are you ready to do your? Yes. So we'll move now to new business. Greg has an item.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. As you know, on November the 25th, we had, I would believe, an uncomfortable conversation that came about from and was brought to us by a member, a male member of our community. It put us gave us a little bit of unrest in terms of their delivery, in terms of his actual dialogue, in terms of how it was presented to our female members of our community, of the delegations that were here, as well as towards our female members of council and of course the chief. Why I'm saying this now is I thought that I could have been a moderating voice in that situation, and I wasn't. And so that is why I'm getting to the point I'm getting to now. I would like to extend an apology to all the female members that were subject to that dialogue. And I don't think it is, when we come here, when we see a lot of the delegates that come and members that come, they come again with passion. And they come again, okay, with a lot of emotion. And we do listen to them and try to give them the utmost respect. And that's what I'm getting at with this delivery, is that I think we can all get our points across. As far apart as we are and how much we oppose, I think that we can still find the best way for our community through dialogue and respectful dialogue, because I think that's really important. Respectful dialogue goes further than when we show disrespect. So that's what I'm trying to get at, and I do apologize, and I do promise as a counselor to do better in the future. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I can personally appreciate that. I'm sure I can accept it and give you thanks from the rest of the table. Does anybody have any commentary, questions? Hazel would like to say something.
I just want to thank Greg for expressing his feelings about what happened that evening, and I think first and foremost, I think we were all sort of shocked into silence. Like, it was such a happening that nobody ever expected that would happen. And I did speak up after to that person. It gave me a little comfort because I felt really bad to, like, nobody wants to be attacked in front of everybody, and that's seemingly how it was. But I think we all feel the same way. We didn't like what happened, and we'll just let bygones be bygones, and we'll move on. Thanks.
Thank you, Hazel. Okay. Natasha, I'm gonna look to you to see if I've missed anything because this is not my usual job. So, if you give me the thumbs up, I can call for a motion to adjourn. Oh, Amos, I see your hand up. Is your hand up? For real?
Oh, yes, I just wanted to thank Greg as well for his comments.
Okay. Calling for motion to adjourn. We're at the end of the meeting. Melba? Seconded by Dale. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you very much for bearing with me. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys again. Jody, you